You've tuned in to the Top 10 Gardener with garden expert Ken Lain. Join him daily as he answers timely garden questions that are sure to make a difference in your gardens. Now welcome your host, Ken Lain.
So we've been talking evergreens this entire show, but there's three that show up at the garden center that are over the top. And you find them in spring, so now's the time. And you wouldn't think they would grow here in the mountains of Arizona. They're more Midwest, maybe East Coast things. I guess now Northwest. They've got them all over the cold country. We are cold, but rhododendron grows amazingly well at high altitude. They're a classic zone 5 plant. So most of us tuned in here are zone 7. So we can grow zone 7. We can grow zone 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So in 7 plus all the lower ones. So zone 5 is golden for us. We'll never think rhododendrons go down to minus 20 degrees, some crazy cold we'll never see. But they bloom consistently every year. Nice evergreen shrub. So most rhodies will get up to about head high, although there's some new dwarf varieties that get up maybe hip high. So but hip to head high, but in the spring, they have the most vibrant, fluorescent pinks, purples, pure white. I mean, like iridescent white. They're glorious. And they're evergreens. The secret with them in the mountains, of a dry climate especially, is that they don't like the sun. So other parts of the country, they grow great in the full sun. Here, not so much, because the elevation makes the sun more intense and the dryness. So if you put them in, they'll take sun. They just don't want to be in that midday 10 to 2 kind of sun. But they'll go great underneath the canopies of your ponderosas, underneath the north side of your house, in containers or in the ground, wherever. They're pretty versatile. Nice green, rich, waxy foliage, which makes them drought hardy. But these bright flowers, azaleas are a counter to them. We've got several varieties of azaleas that just showed up. So garden centers are loading up right now with plants. We're getting ready for the season. So we have a spring open house. Every year we do this. For 62 years, we've had a spring open house for Waters Garden Center. So it's the first week of spring. So I think it's March 15, 16, 17. We bring our vendors in. It's a big celebration. It's just kind of the start. And so we are trying to fill up desperately. Like there's multiple trucks a day showing up with plants. It's changing literally every other day. There's way more plants. And azaleas and rhododendrons are two that show up this time of year. Daphne, the sweetest, fragrant plant. We just had a Mediterranean mound. This is an evergreen perennial. It gets ankle high. It's a ground cover. It gets maybe ankle high, evergreen or ever blue. It's kind of a blue color, silvery color, very striking, soft. Looks like a fern. Spreads out easily 3-4 feet. Bright pink flowers in spring. So you've seen all these new fun plants showing up that you can plant now because they're evergreen. You see what they look like in midwinter, so at the end of winter, basically, and they're budding up heavily right now. And so it's kind of a fun, exciting time. We are going to go over evergreens next week. So this weekend is the spring to-do list. What are the things you need to do now to get your gardens ready, your landscape ready to bloom, grow stronger, better? Next week, March 9th, it's evergreen landscape. So we'll go over all the trees and shrubs. They're evergreen. I'm sure a few perennials as well. Then March 15, 16, 17, a special invite. Please come. 62 years in business. We're the second generation owners. My daughter, Mackenzie, she's the third generation. It's a big deal. And so there's lots of new plants. But basically, your garden centers are getting ready for the spring season and the start of their celebrations. Join in. Throughout the week, Lisa and I camp out here at Waters Garden Center, and we love talking to fans of the show. Waters Garden companion plants of February are Calgary carpet juniper, lily of the valley, pinyon pines, and peony.
Your grandmother would fall in love with these larger peony with so many colors to choose from.
There's nothing like the enormous flowers to add stunning pops of color.
Endearing springtime blooms are more than fragrant with luscious double flowers.
Shop the most perennial peonies in Prescott by store or online at watersgardencenter.com.
If you want a more fruitful garden, increased success in landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Top 10 Garden Podcast. Years of tips, tricks, and garden shortcuts are guaranteed to make your gardens nicer than ever. Listen to this podcast or read Ken's weekly garden column by visiting watersgardencenter.com. That's Waters with 2 T's, gardencenter.com. Thanks for tuning in.